Hi, welcome to this short video that's going to teach you how to make your hamstrings more flexible and also how to build up the strength. The reason we need to have flexible hamstrings is quite often they're tight from not being used. We are very quad dominant as people, but also you want to be able to take the pressure off the pelvis. So when the hamstrings are too tight, they pull on the hips and they malalign the hips. This in turn flows up to things like the spine, but also down below, like your knees and your feet. So today we will start with showing you different ways to stretch, and I'm going to show you different exercises that you can do to build up your strength. And I have many apparatus here that you can use at home. We can use what we call, or I call a booty band. You can also use a loose band. I have a little ball here, and you could use any ball. A dumbbell. I've even got a roller and a chair here. There are many ways that we can actually stretch and strengthen using these type of apparatus. So, to get started, let's start standing, and I'm going to take you through just some examples of the stretch. I'm not going to hold them, I'm not going to go for long periods. It's to educate you, it's for you to find out the one that you like, but also it's great to mix things up as well. So let's get started. So when you're standing, we can do a hamstring stretch a couple of ways without anything, and that is to take one foot forward. I have my heel on the ground. You may need a wall or a chair to balance initially, and then with this back leg, you want to bring it in a little bit and face your hip bone straight ahead. And then simply from here, I want you to visualize that you're sitting into a chair. So I'm starting to push the hips behind me until I feel a lovely stretch there underneath the back of the legs, a little bit of toes to that. You can feel this also through your calf as well, but also through the hamstring there too. So that's a nice way to hold the hamstring stretch. The other one is what we call the standing roll down. With the standing roll down, just be careful those that have disc bulges or pathologies of the spine that you think might be aggravated. It may be aggravated by rolling down, so just take care with this one. So we stand with our feet just under our hips here, and we're going to bring our chin to the chest. We roll the shoulders forward, and you'll feel the core engage here as we start to use that to support our back here. And then you just let the arms, the head, everything hang freely here, and just let everything go. For many different people, it may be the calves that dominate. You may feel a little bit of your lower back and the back of the thighs as well. And I would recommend that you take some really nice big deep breaths here and spend some time allowing it to go and allowing it to give. If you're a little bit more flexible, you can put your hands behind and draw the torso a little closer to the knees. For other people, you might like a bent knee. But you have to balance that out with a little pressure or a little push out of the tailbone when you do that. So I'm going to bring it back up by pulling my tummy and rolling up the spine very slowly, not too fast. And that's another way that you can stretch your hamstrings as well. The third option that I've got for you is on the chair. And with the chair, it just mimics what you did standing up. We take one leg out. I want you to feel nice and tall, like someone's pulled you up through the top of your head, and maintain a straight back as you press your tailbone out, and then find that stretch through the back of the leg there as well. Okay. And ideally, any of these stretches, you want to spend 1 to 2 minutes on there, particularly if you're really, really tight. The third option is one where we actually come down to the floor and we use our band. So the way we do that is grabbing, you could use your booty band, you could use your loose band, whatever you choose. Okay, it's there to give you a little bit of support and some comfort through the move. And it's a stretch I often give just because it's comfortable. Okay, and you can kind of play a little bit with this move. So as you can see, we bring the leg up into the band, and you just kind of bring it up, and as you bring it up, try not to flatten your back. Press the heel up to the ceiling, flex your toes a little bit, and then once you're in that position, try to push your tailbone down a little bit in opposition. A common mistake I see is people are really scrunched up in their shoulders while holding the band. Just relax those arms down and then find the stretch that way. There's no use over recruiting what we tend to use a lot anyhow. The other option is that some people don't feel the stretch on this one. So you can add a stretch by bending this knee here a little bit. So I have this little bend, and I don't want to alter that any more than what it is. But what I do want to do is try to bring that bent knee, I suppose, towards the chest without bending the knee anymore. And just bring it in until I can feel that. Finding a balance, you might want to play a little bit with that heel placement. And then again, pushing the tailbone back down to the floor, like you're trying to arch your back as you bring the thigh up here as well. So that's another good way that you can stretch through the back of your leg. Okay, now the reason why we stretch is obviously to take pressure off our joints. That's a pretty important step. I then am going to show you some different ways that you can build up the strength, and I'm going to go through some of probably what I call a starting point or a range to get things moving as well. Lie down on your tummy and just find a comfortable position with the hands. And once you're familiar with what you're doing, you may rest your head down here as well. The key to this is being very thoughtful and mindful of trying to send that message to the back of the thigh here. So as you're lying down here, what we're going to do is very simply raise the left leg up just a little till that knee comes up off the floor. So it's not much, it's just lifted off the floor. And I try to keep my pelvis straight and line up on the mat here while I do it. And then you might want to hold that for about 10 seconds. And then you would rest it down. To vary that again, what you can then do is bend the knee. And then just have a straight foot there, so just flexing that a little bit. And I want to feel like, again, I'm just lifting that knee up off the mat, just a little. Don't go so high that other things start to really take over there. It's just, my knee's probably off, maybe a centimetre off the mat. And you could hold that for 10 seconds as well. And while I'm in the bent knee position, there is another way. It does take a little bit of practice. You have to try to keep the thigh absolutely still and hovering there while you straighten the leg out. And then from here, you want to feel like you're drawing your heel towards the sit bones or your glutes. And try to activate that hamstring muscle on its own. But if you are moving your knee a lot and the thigh, the front of the thigh is moving a lot, you're not going to get as good connection. So it does take a little bit of practice. And then, again, just try to keep that thigh still. The way that you can then add to this another level is to now bring your both legs up. And it does require a little bit of core strength here. We bring our heels together and our toes are apart like a little V through the feet. And from here I find I get myself centered with my core, switching that on, and then I just start to lift the thighs up a little bit. It does add the glutes to there, so you've got the combination of the glutes and the hamstring coming on as you come back up and down. Okay, so to then progress from something like that, we might go to a bridge. So, coming off our tummy and back onto our back. Very simply, the bridge is a great core, glute and thigh exercise. And I would have your heels just a little away from the glutes but not too far away to start off with. And we just find that tummy, the pelvic floor connection, and lift the hips up. Okay. And I can start to feel the back of my legs, my glutes, and I've got my tummy active as well. From here, what you could then do is come down and land it. And you might do 3 sets of 10 of those, or 12 or 15, okay? Next, I will take your legs out a little longer. So we're increasing the lever from the body. And it's exactly the same focus. But now, as we take those feet longer away from the body, you're going to feel a stronger connection through the back of the legs as well. You could then progress to adding a little bit of a walkout. So if I bring my feet in a little closer and we come up into our bridge, I'm going to come up onto my heels here, and I'm going to try not to drop the pelvis here as I slowly do little walks out towards the end of the mat. Now you might get here initially and come back in, or you can take it further. Just depends on your strength and your ability. Okay, and you can find the straight leg there and really connect through those hamstrings strongly. Then we walk it back in. Okay, so that's another variation of how to activate your hamstrings. From there, you could then put your feet onto the edge of a chair. Okay, and you might see I've got the fitballs. Well, I'm not sure if you can see them, but I'll bring one down and I'll show you also how you can do this on the fitball. A lot of people have them in their home these days. So make sure your chair is stable and secure, and have your feet together, and take care not to roll the feet away from each other as we come up into our bridge. So exactly like what you did before, find the abdominal connection, the pelvic floor, and when you come up, create a straight line between your shoulder, your hip bone, your ankle joint here, your knee, nice and straight. Don't overarch your back. Okay, if you find that the ribs poke out, just draw them down a little. Okay, we keep those glutes on, the back of the thighs on, and you might do a 10-second hold here and then come straight back down. And I would recommend that you might do maybe 8 to 10 10-second holds. That's a different way to build up the strength of the hamstrings. As you build up your strength, you can then add another layer here, where we really dig deep and we really find the strength through the back of one thigh as we now lift the other leg up and then back down, and vice versa. Find the strength on the other thigh up and down, and then come back down. To add that to a fitball, bring one down. These are one of my favourites. I always feel really nicely challenged on these moves. You can mimic exactly what we did before with the bridge and add in your leg combination, but now you have an unstable surface, so take care, alright, and you have to control the wobble through the hips, right? But another one of my favourites is to bend the knees in and have the soles of the feet on the ball. Notice this nice right angle from the hip, the hands are down. From here we can bridge up and we can come straight back down. Or you can come up and without dropping the pelvis, extend the legs out, add a little flexing of the heels there, also the feet, and draw those heels in towards you and then back out. And you could do anywhere from 10 to 15 in a row, but if it's the first time you've done it, you might just start off with 2 or 3, have a rest and then go again. Again, there's always ways to progress. And we can bring one leg off the ball, we can bring ourselves up and do some single legs as well, and really isolate and target. So it's definitely a lot more advanced move. So how can we use the booty band to increase our hamstring strength? I love these bands. There is so much that you can do with these. This requires you to come on your hands and knees. But you could use a chair and hold on to the chair. I'll demonstrate that in a moment. But we place the band so that it is around the opposite ankle to the other foot, where we have the band around the sole of the foot. So hopefully you can see that. It's around the sole of one foot. Find a nice 4-point kneeling position. It's very common for people to be too tucked under, their hands in too far away. Your hands under your shoulders, your knees under your hips there. Alright. Engage through your centre, and then from here we're going to anchor down the foot where it's around the ankle, and then trying not to arch our back and keep the pelvis as still as you can. I want you to press the sole of the other foot up towards the ceiling until you feel the back of your thighs. That's a great way to do it. If you wanted to make that a little bit easier, you can place the band around your knees and then do the same thing. Okay, just kind of visualize you've got a tray of drinks on the lower back here, and you're trying not to spill them as well. Another one that I like to do is to have the band around the ankle down the bottom, but then the sole of the foot again on the other foot. I like to bring myself up, but you could lie fully down, and you just center yourself with the mat, get an alignment of the hip, and then you can press through and squeeze the back of the thigh here, in and out, but don't collapse through your hips, yeah? Keep your hips where they are, and if you're propped up, have your elbow right under your shoulder, feel lifted through your side here, and then press out, and then in. So that's another great way to do it, which then leads me on to, while we're here, just a simple mat exercise. Again, it does require a little bit, like we did at the start, some concentration here. So we find our hip alignment, the knees are stacked one on top of the other and we float it up. Engage through the abdominals to help keep your pelvis steady, and I'm slowly taking the leg to the wall behind me, but I don't want my hip to move and I don't want to push forward as I do. I want to connect through the back of the thigh and then bring it forward. And then again, bring it back. You'll feel a bit of the glutes as well. Okay, that's fine. Okay, you can then hover here, hold the knees one on top of the other. Now this is where it becomes critical. You keep your thighs absolutely still, particularly this top one, obviously, and keep the knee where it is. We're going to try to extend the leg out. And I'm going to flex my foot, and I'm going to think about driving the heel towards my sit bone and then back out again. Try to keep this nice and level, nice and still as you pull back. So that will be a bit of thigh and also the glute that's activating there as well. A little ball here. It's a soft ball. You could use a towel, you could do something rolled up, some sort of cloth rolled up, just to activate the back of your leg. So we come back down to the floor again, and I place this ball behind the knee. Now as soon as I sort of squeeze and pull, I'm going to work the back of that leg. Alright, so we hold that position as we then come up and down. So we're working not only the leg that's moving, but the one leg here that's squeezing the ball as well. This ball can also be used in the same position we had before, where we lift up and down. Okay? So many ways that you can do it. You could also do it with a dumbbell as well, where you bring it up and you squeeze that dumbbell. Another tip with this one is always shorten the distance between your calf and the thigh. We relax, okay? So you're squeezing that, then you're adding the heel to lift up and then back down, okay? Wow, there's so many ways you can work the hamstring, and this is without, like with minimal equipment as well too. So I'm going to now show you how you could use your roller to work the back of your thighs as well. And it really is like what we did with the ball. We're going to bring our hands down by our side, and I just want to feel of the roller coming towards me. I want to press down the soles of the feet here. We're then going to bridge now. We're going to come up into our bridge here. And for some people that might be enough, just going up and down. Or we're going to add a little slide out and then. Take care with this one, it's a slippery surface. Okay, from here we're going to press the roller out. I'm going to feel like I draw those heels to my sit bones. In and out. You could do a single leg in and out. Again, it's a lot more advanced move for people as well. Mind you, while we have the roller, something I did fail to mention is a soft approach to massaging the back of your legs. You can do that as well. Okay, so you can play with sort of the angles, twist the hip a little bit, find those different areas to help release the hamstrings as well. To finish off with, we're going to use our chair again. And when I use your band, again, around the ankle and the sole of the foot, just be sure that when you are doing this upright, that this leg is matching that leg as we are here, and your hips are, pointing straight ahead. And I really want to feel like I engage through my centre here as I press up and down. Now, depending on the strength of the band, you might get a bigger range of movement compared to me, or a smaller one. Again, you could do it with the band around your knees and then press up and down. Good. If you wanted to add the ball, you could do the ball, or you could add the dumbbell. Again, finding a level hip alignment, that's really important as we raise that heel up to the ceiling, not behind. Shorten the angle, remember between there, and sometimes even like say just a scrunched up piece of material or band there, I'm activating the hamstring, just holding it there, and then I'm just taking it up a little notch as we move through there. You can add timings to your movements to challenge you in different ways. You can go really slow in one phase or both phases, or you could go into pulsing action to challenge the hamstrings a little differently, or perhaps there's a move that you just want to build up a little bit of speed on as well. But take care with that. I hope you enjoyed today's session. There's a lot we can do for hamstrings. That's actually just a small part of it. So I hope you enjoyed today's video. Reach out to me if you have any questions. Have a great day.